Okay, so now, how can agencies, government agencies now, help? Agencies like the Bank of Industry, for instance.
Yeah.
How can they help?
You see, we spoke about, you just mentioned government agencies. What about the people representatives? What do I mean by this? Now, this leads to what I call bad governance and leadership failure. Let me go into this, and this is very critical. We have in every political scene in this country, we have from councillors, we have local government chairmen, and we have the people that actually are representing us in every state's House of Assemblies. Now, when the so-called honorables in those states of assemblies, they are representing a constituency. Okay? Now, they're representing some people in a certain constituency. Now, what they're meant to do is, for such a program, if they're very effective and they know and they're responsive to what the leadership they're actually holding, representing the people, when such a program comes out, they should be the first people. Government agency is one. We say they've done their part, but the people that are meant to actually carry it over and begin to implement it are not doing what they're supposed to do. When you are representing the people as a councillor, as a local government chairman, House of Representatives, you tap into those projects. Go to your community, your constituency, and say, right, listen, this is a program that the government is funding. Address the people. You bring it out. Bring the advocacy out. Begin to bring the awareness to the people so people will understand what it is. So when people know exactly what it is, they begin to applaud it and begin to tap into the benefit of it. So we can't just blame the government agencies and the federal government agencies alone. The people, we have representatives. But the point is, the connection between the ordinary people and the people that we call our leaders who are meant to be representing us. Because usually what should happen is this. You are representing the community, you should have an office in that constituency. When you have an office in there, the people come in there, what we call like surgery. They come in there, they bring in their grievances, their problems and everything. They table it, you take the whole of the thing, you take it back to the House of Assembly to go and deliberate. Then you come back to the people and say, right, this is what we've been able to discuss about what you've actually brought to my table. Now, when we do this, and the leadership are responsible for what they're supposed to be doing, then some of these programs will begin to materialize and become effective.
So, Mike, you would agree with me that this theme now for this year's World Economic Forum meeting, African meeting on forging inclusive growth and creating jobs is pretty apt, especially since, this is what, at least the budget for this year, the 2014 budget for this year is actually all about forging inclusive growth and creating jobs. So this theme is actually apt for this time, or could it have come at a better time than now?
I think it's coming at the right time, if I may say. Like I said earlier, there are a catalog of other reasons, and we are the solution to how we could create more jobs. Now, another one is, for example, we have this local content law in this country. What does that tell everyone? It tells you if a foreigner or an investor comes into the country and you invested, or you bring an investment to the country, the local content, there's a percentage of, what we, the local, should be involved in that business. But the law is there, but there's no one monitoring. It's not effective. I've seen businesses, to be honest with you, I've seen businesses whereby right from the top to the middle cadre are all the people that brought it in. And you have Nigerians at the lower bottom level, and they have no chance of rising to a middle cadre, not talk of the top cadre. Now, if that happens all the time, we are not creating employment. You allow people to come in and come and milk us. It's a numbers game. 170 million, 200 million people in Nigeria, wherever you bring into Nigeria, you will make your money and go. So if we have the law of the local content and nobody's actually making sure that it's effective, that we'll monitor and see it's actually working the way it should be, then people will always come, prey on us, okay, make all the money, and we're going to be the one at the lower level. So we're not creating employment because they bring their own people in to take over. So how are we creating employment? We're not creating employment. Okay? Another one is training, which is very important. We have a law in this country, and it's everywhere in the whole world when we talk about labor law and labor acts. Okay? Train your staff. We keep complaining that we have less skilled people in this country. How are we going to have skilled people when the employers who were supposed to, when you have over 5 employees, for example, it should be mandatory that you train, you organize internal and external training for skill acquisition. If you don't do that, then how do you expect those people to grow and have more skill to become useful?
Can I quickly ask you this?
Yeah.
A lot of employees might not, employers might not be favorably disposed to this, because there's situations where an employer will train you and then you leave the organization and take that knowledge with you. And so at the end of the day, he's on the losing end. So does it always have to be an employer's duty to train? Why can't an individual who desires to be in a particular field, who knows what he or she wants to get from a particular field, avail himself or herself to be trained in that particular field that they want?
Look, it's a 50-50 game. It's a win-win game.
Win-win for who?
For both the employer and the employee. Now, if I'm running a recruitment, training, human capital business, for example. If I don't train my staff how to deal with my clients and how to bring in businesses into the business, there's no way they're going to be able to do it. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's one. Now, if I train them effectively, internally and externally, and they become professionals, right? Look, you can't hold on someone to your business forever. It's impossible. But what we fail to understand is it's a governmental influence that has to come in here. If I train 2 people and once one of them left somewhere else, that skill that he's gained or she's gained, he's taken it somewhere else. It will be an addition, it will be a plus to another employer. Now, if that person comes to you, if your productivity is about 100 products, for example, an addition of that person's skill to you will increase your productivity. So it will add benefit to the nation and to that business. So it goes round. It goes round. So it is not a fact. What you said is right, that if we train someone, that's the fear of every employer, that we train someone is going to leave. It's one day at one point in time, they're going to leave anyway. But someone going to come over and replace this person. Now, the person that's coming over to replace who's left, if that person has been trained, I will gain as well. So the gain goes around. That's why I said it's a win-win situation. Everybody wins.
Well, Mike, let's quickly wrap this up so we can, have another conversation with Elsie, who's actually waiting on Skype now to talk to us. As Nigeria plays host to, global leaders, industrialists, and captains of industry, what lessons do you think Nigeria can learn from its peers? Because there's going to be a lot of people who have, similar or even worse, experiences than we have here in Nigeria actually at that meeting. And everybody's going to be looking to share ideas. The most interesting part of, sharing ideas is that an idea shared is almost solving a problem, or a problem solved, a problem shared is almost solved. So if, for instance, now, we mingle with these people from other African countries who have somehow or the other successfully managed to look at the problems of creating job and begun to address it, if not totally address it. What lessons do you think we can learn, and how can we begin to implement it?
We should begin to look into areas and countries who's actually been able to manage their human resources effectively. Look at India, for example. We could learn a big experience or gain massively from India. India has a huge human resources. What do? They invested in training, right? The majority of the human capital, and they became effective. Now, what are they doing with those human resources? They're now outsourcing, right? They're now outsourcing those human capital to other countries in IT, in pharmaceutical, because they are now experts, for example. So we can learn from such a country that we have a huge human resources. Now we can develop these people, make them skilled resources, and we use them for our own internal benefit economy, and we can also begin to outsource them to other countries, which will become a beneficial, not to the individual alone, but to the economy of Nigeria as well.
Well, thank you so much, Mike, for joining me on the program this morning. It's
My
been
pleasure.
an interesting conversation.
Thank you.
And I hope you're also listening on the conversation I'm going to be having with Elsie Kanza in just a
I will
moment.
be.
She's
I
the
will be.
Director, Head of Africa, World Economic Forum. And so we'll take another quick break. And when we come back, we'll start that conversation. We'll have the Director, Head of Africa, World Economic Forum, Elsie Kanza, joining us via Skype to look at preparations for WEFA, which comes up next month, as well as other issues. Please join us again.